It's a calm Sunday morning in Hawaii. Sailors are eating breakfast, some are writing letters home, others are still asleep after a Saturday night ashore. Then at 7:48 a.m., the sky fills with aircraft. Within minutes, explosions tear across Pearl Harbor, battleships erupt into flames. Airfields are bombed before many American pilots even reach their planes. Thousands of lives are changed forever in less than 2 hours. The attack on Pearl Harbor shocked the world, brought the United States into the Second World War, and reshaped the course of the 20th century. But how did Japan and America reach this point? What actually happened that morning? And why has Pearl Harbor remained one of history's most infamous surprise attacks? This is a quick run-through of Pearl Harbor. To understand Pearl Harbor, we need to go back several years. During the 1930s, Japan was rapidly expanding across East Asia. In 1931, it seized Manchuria, and in 1937, launched a full-scale invasion of China. The war became increasingly brutal, with atrocities such as the Nanjing Massacre drawing international condemnation. The United States viewed Japan's expansion with growing concern. Although America remained officially neutral in the widening global conflict, it steadily increased economic pressure on Tokyo. The most damaging measure came in 1941 when the United States froze Japanese assets and imposed an oil embargo alongside Britain and the Netherlands. This was a serious threat. Japan imported around 80% of its oil, much of it from the United States. Without fuel, its navy, air force, and industry would eventually grind to a halt. Japanese leaders now faced a difficult choice: accept American demands and withdraw from occupied territories, or seize the resources they believed were essential to continue their expansion. They chose war. Japan's strategy depended on speed. The greatest obstacle was the United States Pacific Fleet, based at Pearl Harbor on the Hawaiian island of Oahu. If America could be knocked out long enough, Japan hoped it could rapidly capture resource-rich territories across Southeast Asia and the Pacific before the United States had time to recover. The architect of the attack was Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto. Ironically, Yamamoto understood America remarkably well. He had studied in the United States and knew its enormous industrial strength. He reportedly warned that Japan might enjoy success for 6 months, but beyond that he had little confidence in ultimate victory. Even so, he believed a surprise attack offered Japan its best chance. Planning began in complete secrecy. 6 aircraft carriers assembled into a powerful strike force, unlike anything the world had seen before. More than 350 aircraft, including fighters, dive bombers, high-level bombers, and torpedo bombers, would make the journey across the North Pacific. The fleet maintained strict radio silence throughout the voyage. Its route deliberately avoided major shipping lanes. Few people even knew it was at sea. As the Japanese force approached Hawaii, negotiations between Washington and Tokyo continued. Many American leaders expected war. Few believed Pearl Harbor would be the first target. Shortly before dawn on December 7th, Japanese aircraft lifted from the carrier decks. Their mission was simple: cripple the Pacific Fleet before it could respond. As the planes neared Oahu, they encountered almost no resistance. At 7:02 a.m., 2 American radar operators detected a large group of incoming aircraft. They reported the contact, but their warning was mistakenly believed to be a flight of expected American B-17 bombers arriving from California. No alarm was raised. The opportunity to prepare was lost. At 7:48 a.m., the first bombs fell. Within moments, chaos spread across Pearl Harbor. Aircraft struck battleships moored neatly along Battleship Row, making them ideal targets. At nearby airfields such as Hickam, Wheeler, and Ford Island, Japanese fighters and bombers destroyed aircraft before many could even leave the ground. American commanders had parked planes close together to protect against sabotage. Instead, they became devastatingly vulnerable to air attack. Smoke soon covered much of the harbor. Ships burned fiercely as crews fought desperately to save them. One ship would become the defining image of the attack: the battleship USS Arizona. Just after 8 a.m., an armor-piercing bomb penetrated the forward magazine. The resulting explosion was catastrophic. The front of the ship was torn apart as over 1 million pounds of gunpowder detonated. More than 1,100 sailors and Marines were killed almost instantly. The Arizona sank where she lay. Today, her wreck remains beneath the waters of Pearl Harbor as a memorial to those who died. Nearby, the battleship USS Oklahoma suffered repeated torpedo strikes. She rolled over within minutes, trapping hundreds of men inside. Some survived for days in the darkness, tapping on the hull while desperate rescue efforts continued outside. Elsewhere, ships fought back with whatever weapons they could bring into action. Sailors scrambled through smoke and flames to man anti-aircraft guns. Many had no ammunition nearby. Others had to break open locked storage lockers while bombs continued to fall around them. Acts of courage unfolded everywhere. Crew members carried wounded comrades through burning decks. Medical staff treated casualties under constant attack. Firefighters battled infernos that seemed impossible to contain. The attack came in two major waves lasting roughly 90 minutes. By the time it ended, 8 battleships had been damaged or sunk. Nearly 190 American aircraft had been destroyed, with many more badly damaged. More than 2,400 Americans had been killed and over 1,100 wounded. Japanese losses by comparison were remarkably light. Just 29 aircraft, 5 midget submarines, and fewer than 70 personnel failed to return. From a purely tactical perspective, the attack appeared to be a stunning success. But several crucial targets had escaped. The most important American aircraft carriers were not in Pearl Harbor that morning. USS Enterprise, USS Lexington, and USS Saratoga were all away on separate missions. This would prove enormously significant. Aircraft carriers, rather than battleships, would soon become the dominant weapon of naval warfare. Japan had also failed to destroy Pearl Harbor's massive fuel storage facilities, repair yards, and submarine base. These installations allowed the United States Navy to recover far more quickly than Japanese planners had anticipated. Several damaged battleships were eventually repaired and returned to service. Only USS Arizona and USS Oklahoma were permanent losses from the battleships present. The following day, President Franklin D. Roosevelt addressed Congress. He described December 7th as a date which will live in infamy. The speech lasted only a few minutes. Its impact was enormous. Congress declared war on Japan with only one dissenting vote. 3 days later, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States. America was now fully committed to a global conflict. Its vast industrial capacity would soon begin producing ships, aircraft, tanks, and weapons on a scale unmatched by any nation in history. For Japan, Pearl Harbor achieved immediate military success, but failed strategically. Rather than weakening American resolve, the attack united the country. Millions volunteered for military service. Factories shifted to wartime production. The United States mobilized with extraordinary speed. Just 6 months later, the Battle of Midway dramatically shifted the balance of power in the Pacific, with Japan losing 4 fleet carriers and many experienced aviators, losses it would never fully replace. From that point onwards, the momentum increasingly favored the Allies. Today, Pearl Harbor remains one of the most visited historic sites in the United States. Visitors can still see the white memorial spanning the wreck of USS Arizona, where oil continues to seep slowly to the surface more than 80 years later. The attack is remembered not only because of its destruction, but because it transformed world history. It marked the end of American isolationism, brought the world's largest industrial power fully into the Second World War, and accelerated events that would ultimately lead to the defeat of Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. Pearl Harbor was intended to secure Japan's future. Instead, it awakened an opponent with immense resources and determination. In just 90 minutes, thousands lost their lives, entire fleets were crippled, and the course of the 20th century changed forever. More than 8 decades later, the lessons of Pearl Harbor continue to resonate about surprise, preparedness, and the devastating consequences of war. If you enjoyed this quick run-through, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we explore another moment that changed history.